Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Red Review. Boy, we have a lot to cover tonight. I'm going to hit it all. Tesla just dropped the official date for the Cybercab Launch Event, and that's going to be on September 3rd in Austin. Invites are already starting to go out, and you have until tomorrow afternoon to hopefully, well, get your invite. You do that by, well, taking a robo-taxi ride, truth be told, and that puts you in the lottery to get an invite to go to the event. Also, you can just write into them and mail it in and mail in a form. I don't know how they're going to get it in time and get you an entry in time, but they say it's a thing. Well, this is the first time we're getting a good public look at the purpose-built robo-taxi with no steering wheels and no pedals. And tonight, we're going to break down exactly what that means for you as a Tesla owner, FSD timeline, residual value, unsupervised FSD, and Cybertruck implications, just all of it, all right? We're also going to cover the brand new vehicle to load on the new Model YL, as well as the standard, the premium Model Y that you may already have in your garage. Not everybody's qualified. We're going to tell you how to figure out if you can actually utilize this. We're going to show you how the different ways you can check this and get the $80 adapter to let your Model Y power things outside of the vehicle. So don't forget to drop your questions into the chat below, and we're going to get to it. So, boy, we're going live. And we're going to check this out and see what happens, guys. All right, let's get it kicking. All right, so we want to take a look at what the Cybercab is actually, okay? And the reason we want to do that, we're just going to take a little jump backwards in time here because this is actually pretty important. The Cybercab. It is for those of you who have not been keeping up, or if you live under a rock, because these things have been popping up all over the place, all over the country, specifically here in Atlanta. We wanted to kind of highlight this if you haven't seen these around. And what they are, they're purpose-built autonomous vehicles. They're designed to have no steering wheels and no pedals, although there are many engineering vehicles that you will see rolling around with steering wheels and pedals, but not all of them. If you really want to be able to tell them apart, you can tell by the logos on the front, on the trunk and on the side of the vehicles. That particular logo on those cars do not have steering wheels or pedals. That's my understanding. That was the last word I heard from Tesla. So the ones that have the fancy new logos don't have steering wheels or pedals. The ones that don't have the logos, they do have the steering wheels and pedals. Oh yeah, by the way, the newer ones now come with Starlink as well. So that's what it is. And it's a two-seater. There's no 3, 4, 5 seaters. No, there's just 2 seats. And you have a trunk. And it's completely autonomous. Now, eventually, the idea I know was for Tesla to actually sell this vehicle to the general populace as well. So you can own one of these and park it in your garage somehow. And the price of that was going to be roughly between $25,000 and $30,000. Now, as you can see, I have the stats up on the screen on the robotaxi. And the reason why I have that up there is because you're going to see some great efficiencies, which is going to become really important later, truth be told. And I'm going to get into why that's so important. Mainly that you have a 48 kilowatt hour battery, which is almost half of what a Model Y is. Keep that in mind. Right now, the bulk of the robotaxi fleet is being driven around utilizing Model Y premiums. That's essentially what's going on with them. This has almost half the battery capacity. Yet it has almost the same amount of range as a Model Y premium. That's why it has 293 miles and it only weighs 3,100 pounds and only 219 horsepower. It's no real get up and go, but the thrust to weight ratio is actually pretty good here. But you don't need it. This is supposed to be a cab of all things. It's just supposed to be a nice, comfortable ride to get you from point A to point B. So that's what the Cybercab is, okay, if you didn't already know. And from the looks of it, Tesla is starting to going to phase out the Model Ys. That's why we have the that's why we have the Cybercab launch event that's going to happen on September 3rd. Now, if you get an invite to this, you get to go there, and they are going to be launching, well, they haven't said where they're going to be launching. The assumption is that they're going to be launching in Austin, and that's it. But I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these cabs are located all over the country, including here in Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I mean, basically, you name it, and these cabs are there. So that's what this is all about, if you weren't keeping up. And I got to tell you, it's actually really exciting. Now, what this means to you as an owner in FSD, okay? It seems completely disconnected. It's like, okay, they're launching a Cybercab service. Who cares, right? You should. And here's the reason why you should care. That software that they are currently running on the Cybercab is a version of version 15 of FSD. And that's the version that Elon and company has always said that, well, not always, but it most recently have said that that's the version that's going to go live with Cybercab. Okay. That's one they felt that was up to snuff, so to speak, and it was good enough to go. And they worked out the bugs. Remember, version 15 is going to be the next step up. Remember, it was about this time last year, a little bit later in the year last year, when we got version 14. Version 15 is getting ready to come out, and it's probably going to launch not too long after the Cybercab is given the green light to actually launch, okay? So what that means to you as an owner is that your vehicle will be just as good as the Cybercab once in version 15. Now, I've not heard of version 15 being placed into the Model Y yet. We know it's going to be in the Cybercab. We know the Cybercab has more RAM memory than the Model Y. Well, the current Model Y. I suspect I've heard sometime in the next year that the new Model Ys are going to have more memory. So if you want to think of it as hardware 4.5, you can kind of think of it that way if you really want to. But really what it is hardware 4 with more memory, which is what the Cybercab has. So it's the same architecture, just more memory. And that's important because they've been trying to squeeze every little bit of headroom out of the hardware they could with these vehicles. And they've been distilling the model down, distilling, and they got it to fit on the hardware 4 and the Model Ys, but they really have it in the Cybercab. So I can see where it might take them a little while to distill a little bit more to get to the Model Ys, but at the end of the day, it's going to work. And if in case you don't know what distilling means, that's when they take the model and they basically refine it and compress it to the point where it can actually fit. Kind of like what they did with the Hardware 3 vehicles, but it's not quite the same. Hardware 3 is a distilled version of the Hardware 4 of version 14, but it's really, really compressed. This version will not need nearly as much compression. Okay, so it's going to work. It's just a question of time. Now, having said that, what's the impact that it's going to have on you with your Model Y or Model 3 or whatever you happen to have, or a Cybertruck? That means your FSD is going to get much better. I'm going to tell you right now, though, as soon as version 15 drops, your FSD is going to get much worse. We go through this every single time, and I get tired of seeing it on the Facebook pages. I don't know about y'all. Let me know. I see it all the time. The moment a FSD version drops, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. How could they go back? Go backwards in the way that this works. This version of FSD is horrible. I want my old version back. Every single time. Guys, whenever a new version of FSD drops, a full version like this, it takes time to refine all the little nuances. Yes, there are going to be issues, especially because it's not Cybercab. They're working through those right now. But when it gets to the Model Y, Model 3, and all of the other vehicles, the rest of the fleet, there are going to be issues. We know this. So give it time. If you don't want to deal with those issues, don't upgrade. I'm giving you fair warning right now. Do not upgrade, okay? Give it a few months. Let all the little, I can't even call it bugs. I would say let all the little nuances work themselves out, and then go ahead and upgrade if it really bugs you and you don't want to deal with the jerkiness or the non-smoothness of it all. That's just the way it is. Okay. Having said that, that's really what it's going to mean to you as an owner. The next thing it's going to mean to you as an owner, okay, because it's going to be so smooth. I have already witnessed in the used vehicle market already, on average, if you have FSD with your vehicle, so all the owners out there, if you own FSD, boy, oh boy, oh boy, you're in for a treat. The average price over a non-FSD vehicle is about $8,300 when you go to sell it used. I know a lot of people didn't know that, but this is why I came out with the buyer's guide. I have the buyer. If you haven't seen it on my YouTube channel, I have a Tesla buyer's guide, and I go through this as to how to spot all the different things that are inside of the vehicle, all the different software stuff that you have inside of a vehicle if you're buying a used vehicle, so you know how to spot it. It's very important, because if you find a vehicle that has FSD and the seller doesn't know what they have, well, then quite frankly, you just got an $8,300 chunk of change in your pocket. You already got that equity in your pocket, but you got to be able to spot it, and you got to be able to spot the hardware force. Get that, and you're doing really, really well. Highly recommend doing that. Now, so that's what it means to you as an owner right off the bat, and what it means to you in your wallet. So eventually, this is going to mean unsupervised FSD will be coming to you a lot sooner than later. Okay. Now, it is conceivable that eventually you'll be able to operate your vehicle unsupervised in the same areas that Cybercab is going to be working. That's going to be coming, and they're going to expand those areas. Now, like I said, Cybercab has been all over the nation. They got approval to operate it in Austin and Texas and all of that. That's where they're going to be operating for right now. So we're going to see what happens with that. As a side note, just yesterday, well, let me back up. Early in the week, Tesla was approved to operate robotaxis in Las Vegas. Okay. But it was only for 10 vehicles. They got the approval, but they revised it about a day or so ago, and now they are approved for 5,000 vehicles. Now, they're not going to launch 5,000 vehicles overnight. That's just not happening. Okay, let's be realistic about this. They may launch 5 or 10 initially, and then they'll go ahead and scale up as time goes on with the Cybercab. But you make no mistake, it will be the Cybercab that they're going to scale with. But that will be happening. So that's all the things that's going on with Cybercab. Now, let me go on a slight tangent here. Very slight tangent, because I need to talk to you about Waymo. And I was like, well, okay, I thought this was a Tesla robotaxi podcast, and not a Waymo podcast, think something like that. Well, here's the thing. Waymo proved Tesla right. Yeah, they did. And I'll tell you how they did it. What happened was Google owns Waymo. Waymo came out with their autonomous Jaguars, which basically cost $200,000 a piece. Okay. They've been operating in this model for the number of years that they've been operating. That's the only model they have operated continuously during this time. I've actually taken rides in these. I've gone around in different cities in them. They're actually pretty nice, truth be told. They're not that bad. Is Tesla a smoother ride? Yes, Tesla is a little bit smoother. I like the amenities a little bit better in Tesla Robotaxi, only because I own a Tesla and all my settings are there, all my preferences are there. It's nice, okay? Waymo doesn't have that for me. Waymo has my name on the top of the car. It's actually pretty cool. I kind of like that. You can't mistake your vehicle when you roll up to it. It's pretty cool. So I don't want to knock Waymo in that sense. Where I will knock them, like, dude, your car costs $200,000. You might want to correct that. And that's one of the reasons why they're more expensive than Uber in a lot of cases. Now, remember how much money I told you a Cybercab costs. Cybercab sold to the public. The general consensus right now is between $25,000 and $30,000. Now, you guys tell me how you're going to make money with a $200,000 vehicle going up against a $25,000, $30,000 vehicle doing essentially the same job. Okay. On top of that, Elon, I can sort of kind of quote Elon here on the conference calls. 90% of all rides have 2 or less people. With Waymo, with Uber, doesn't matter who you use. That's just the stats. Over 90%. So you don't need a vehicle that carries 3, 4, 5 people in general. You have a vehicle that carries 2 people, and that's going to take care of 90%. So Cybercab is a perfect fit for that. Also, if you really need more, you still have the Model Ys if you really need to run them. And those cost about $40,000, $50,000 out the door. That's for retail price. Okay. Wholesale price, which what Tesla will be operating, will be different. Now, having said that, Waymo knew they had to do something, and they did something. They did do something, and it was announced earlier this year. We happened to have been out at CES 2026 earlier this year when they talked about this, and I wish I could have gotten my hands on it. But Waymo has announced OJAI. OJAI. Now, if you don't know, if you've not heard of OJAI, here you go. This is Waymo OJAI, and it looks like an ID bus. That's what it looks like, but that's really not what it is. What it actually is, it's a Chinese vehicle, Zeekr. That's literally what these OJAI vehicles are. That is a Chinese minibus that they actually sell in China. And it's like, no, okay, wait a minute, hold up. I thought Chinese vehicles couldn't be sold in the U.S. I thought they weren't allowed to be sold in here in the U.S. That's not quite accurate. What is accurate to say is that all Chinese vehicles have a 127% tariff on them. Okay. And that is the part that gets everybody. Here, I'll show you right where I brought it up. Now, here we go. Here's the thing. You have the OJAI, the estimated cost to buy the vehicle is $38,000. That's why they put the tariffs on. Because as you can see, that's basically a minibus for $38,000. Crazy, right? And it's an EV. And Zeekr has their self-driving technology, which doesn't work here, obviously. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying it exists. But it's $38,000. That's the reason for the tariffs, because if they did not have those tariffs on those vehicles, the U.S. market would be absolutely flooded with those vehicles. And that's a bus. Imagine what the cars are like. I mean, we're talking $15,000 for a small car. Ford would be having issues all day long. They wouldn't be able to keep up. All right. Any case, 127% tariff. Once you put the tariffs on that, that balloons the cost of this vehicle to $86,000. So it's worth it to Waymo to import these buses for $86,000 for their use. But on top of that, they're not utilizing Zeekr's self-driving technology. That's not what's happening. They're utilizing their own Waymo technology, which is now they strap all this stuff to the roof, all the LiDAR, radar, all the stuff they need. And that's estimated to cost $25,000 per install, which now jacks the price up to over $100,000. Okay. So now we're back here. So this vehicle that you see here now costs roughly, let's call it $110,000. And that's probably conservative, and that's probably before taxes. Okay. Compare that to the Cybercab, which costs $30,000 on the outside. There's no way to bridge that gap. You can't do it. It's not going to happen. So what you have is a situation where you have Google coming in with Waymo with these much more expensive products, a lot more overhead, and they're just hoping to grab market share. They're hoping to get some amount of cash rolling before the Cybercab enters the market, because once the Cybercab enters the market, it's game over, okay? Because as you can see, it's a nice van. I will give it that. It is very nice. It has slide. If you can see here in the picture, in the video, it has actually elevator type doors. The doors open left to right, and there's no pillar in between, which is actually really nice. It seats 5 people, which is also nice. Plenty of room, has the screens in there, comfy. I will say the suspension is not the greatest in the world. It's pretty stiff, but at the same time, it's not exactly your homegrown vehicle where you're going to be rolling it around all over the place. But it's a nice vehicle. I mean, I wouldn't mind rolling around in it, but not for $100-something thousand. I wouldn't, but I wouldn't want to own it. But $38,000, we might talk. Okay, we just might talk. $100-something thousand, they're going to have problems. Now, remember what I said earlier, 90% of all rides, 2 people or less. So why are you going to come out with a 5-passenger bus that's $100,000 when almost all of the rides are 2-seaters? You're only going to put 2 people in there? Answer is, you done messed up. Because they're expecting this to replace their Jaguars. Because if you didn't know, their Jaguars are getting a little, how shall we say, long in the tooth. They're just not as good as they used to be. They're having maintenance issues with them, and it's time for a fleet refresh. This vehicle is the fleet refresh, okay? And, well, it's technically cheaper than the Jaguar. They're moving in the correct direction. They know they need a cheaper vehicle, but even with a Chinese vehicle, it's still topped $100,000. They can't compete against the Cybercab. It's just not going to happen. So we'll see how all of that shakes out. We'll see how it all works out with the Cybercab. I pretty much know what's going to happen. You guys put in the comments below. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. Because I know I'm going to do my best to get out to CES 2027. I'm going to get a pretty good close look at these things and let you guys know what's going on with them. Woo. It's going to be something. It will be something, without a doubt. Okay, moving on along. Whew. Sometimes I talk too much and the throat gets dry. What can I say? Let me know what you guys are going to do about the used vehicles. If you're going to buy a used or if you're going to get a new vehicle, things of that nature. Given the fact of FSD, because true story, I was at a Tesla reseller the other day. I hate to call these guys used car dealerships, but they are used car dealerships. But they specialize in Teslas. And if you've watched the channel, you know I have a Model Y Premium. And it's a Quicksilver color, launch edition. I roll up on the lot, and what I was doing, I was just pricing out Model 3s because I was going to get one for my son because he's going to college, things of that nature. And I was going to look, I saw a Model 3 Highland that actually looked pretty good. Yeah, I want to go back to him and talk to him more about it. But in any case, while I was standing out there, another agent came up to me and goes, you know what? That's a launch series. Like, yep, sure is. So it has FSD, right? Yep, sure does. Quicksilver, right? Yep. It's like, that's like the rarest color. I had no idea. So apparently Quicksilver, number one, Quicksilver color is the rarest color for Tesla vehicles. So if you have a used Tesla vehicle, Quicksilver is the one that you want to have, apparently. Did not know this. And he said, I said, well, what are you talking about? That's crazy. I didn't think about it. I thought it would be pretty common. He said, look around this lot and tell me what you see. And I looked around the lot. He was right. There was every other color out there. Blue, red, black, gray, everything. No Quicksilvers at all. No no Quicksilver colors at all. And I started looking around, and he's right. Nobody selects that color, but it's one of the premium colors. And it looks nice. That's the crazy part. But for whatever reason, when people buy new cars, they don't get that color except for me. In any case, I brought this up because he also goes, well, yeah, it has FSD, and you have the color, and it's a Juniper Model Y. He was going to give me $50,000 for it on the spot. No questions asked. Didn't even care what the mileage was. True story. He had me thinking for a moment. Yeah, I said no. Bottom line is, if you buy the used vehicle, you find one with FSD, hang on to that bad boy. It's that $8,300 price tag that is actually really nice. Yeah, Keith, I understand, because this is something I wasn't planning on talking about this, but that's actually a very good point what you bring up. Keith is asking, is saying, I think I will, I think that I will stick with new. It doesn't make sense with the price. And he's right. And I'll tell you why he's right. Because on the new vehicles, a lot of the times you are getting a great interest rate. And in fact, I know for a fact right now on the Model 3, there's a 0.99% financing on the Model 3 right now. Okay. When you do the math, and considering even a moderate level Model 3, premium all-wheel drive, not even the performance model, let's just call it $43,000 out the door. Okay. When you look at the amount of money you're going to spend $43,000. I just told you that I was looking at used Model 3. They were asking a little over $29,000 for it. And it had, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 12,000 miles, somewhere in that neighborhood. And it was a Model 3 Highland. But if I were to try to go get a loan on that vehicle in this environment, and I have pretty decent credit. I don't have bad credit. I have decent credit. I like to think I have decent credit. Okay. Yeah, I have good credit. I like to think I have good credit. But even with my credit rating, I'm going to be looking at 8% or more on the loan for that vehicle. And when you start doing the math on the loan with the interest, 8% versus 0.99%, dude, you're probably going to wind up paying either the same price or more for that used vehicle. So you think you saved it on the front end on the price, but they just hit you on the finance charges. And that's why there is a serious argument to buy a brand new car, even with the depreciation. And it's hard to get around that fact. And as of late, especially, like I said, especially with the FSDs and all of that, the price of used Teslas has actually been going up. That has been the trend of late. Like I said, I didn't intend to get into this, but this is the real life stuff that I've been dealing with as of late, because as I've been going car shopping. Speaking of car shopping, I want to thank Vic over there at Tesla. I really do. Got in the Model YL. I will be bringing a video to you guys later, what my thoughts are on that vehicle, the video. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I didn't own FSD in my current Model Y, I'd seriously think about trading it in. Yeah, I was seriously thinking about it. That Model YL, don't sleep on it. I'm going to do a comparison video for you guys. But if you have a family of 4 or more, or if you have a regular need for 5 or 6 seats in your vehicle, do not hesitate to look at that Model YL. It will probably serve you well. And I was pleasantly surprised with that vehicle. It does not look like it from the outside that it's any different than the regular Model Y, whereas the old Model Y just had a third row seating, and let's face it, the third row was essentially unusable for anything above an infant. It was, okay? Spoiler alert, only because you guys tuned in the live podcast, I'm 6'3". 6'3". I can fit in all of those seats. And I put those seats where I could sit in them, in the front row, front passenger, the middle row, and the back. So I could fit in all of those seats. I was able to fit in that back seat. And that just shocked the mess out of me. I was like, whoa, this is just nuts. So Model YL, I would be serious. It's a serious contender. Look out for that one. All right. So while we let me wrap up with the whole Waymo business. So Waymo's expanding like crazy. They're getting permits just like Tesla is all over the place. Like I said, it's a great service. I highly recommend trying them out. I'm going to try out more of them to really give them a fair shake. I don't have a problem with their service. I do have a problem with their pricing and what's going to happen in the future with them. The Robotaxi, when it launches, hey, it's going to be real nice. Let me know if any of you guys get to go to the event. I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm not going to be able to get my entries in. So I already know I'm not going to make it. It's tough. It is what it is, though. What can I say? Now, one of the other things that has happened this week that a lot of people, for some people, it made their whole year. For other people, they went, I don't get it. What's the big deal? What we're talking about here is the vehicle to load on the new Model Y, Model YL for certain. On the new Model YL, you have what's known as vehicle to load, okay? And what it actually is, if you've not heard of it, it allows you to use your mobile adapter, mobile charger, plug it into the charge port on your Model Y. And when you do that, it has another adapter that you hook up to it. And it basically lets you utilize these outlets so that you can power stuff basically from your charge port. So what you have now, you get what we've had on the Cybertruck all this time, which we call bi-directional charging. So you have what's known as the PCS2 in the Model YL. That's the same PCS board. For my longtime viewers, y'all know how we've struggled with the PCS boards. I think they finally fixed it. Oh my gosh. Ooh. It's the same PCS2 board that's in the Cybertruck, but it allows for the bi-directional charging that you have in the Model YL now. So now, not only will it accept the charge, but it can now power stuff from that mobile adapter. Now, for some people, they're probably going, yeah, that's great, but I still don't get it. What's the big deal here? All right. I'm going to tell you from personal experience with a Cybertruck dealing with this. If you do a lot of camping, you get it immediately. You understand immediately. You do any kind of camping because now you have 120 volt AC outlets available to you that you just didn't have it before. So now you can plug in your little portable air conditioner. You can plug in your little stove. You can, and I got to temper their expectations on that here very shortly. I know some people are freaking out that know about this, about what I'm saying. And the reason they're freaking out is because if you look right there in the middle of the screen, that 2.4 kilowatt, all right, that is a limit to the load that you can put on the vehicle. All right. So you can't do any more than 2.4. If you do, the thing's going to shut off on you. 2.4 kilowatts. That's how much electricity you control. It's like, I don't know what 2.4 kilowatts is. It's a good bit. That's a good bit. Most stuff by themselves won't do it. I mean, a power tool, it'll push it, but a stove might push it. But that's not where the problem comes in. The problem comes in when you have any type of a motor or anything like that, like a power tool, because the initial surge of electricity that goes through, it may actually go a little bit higher than that 2.4. I will say I saw this on Facebook earlier today. Somebody did have a picture of them pulling 3 kilowatts. I don't know how, but I didn't look into it too tough. I probably should have looked in a little bit more, but somebody did have 3 kilowatts pulling through that adapter. But 2.4 is pretty good. it's enough for you to power some stuff, without a doubt. Extra lighting on the campsite. If you are tailgating, for my sports fans, if you are tailgating, this is a game changer. Also, you might want to look at that Model Y mattress. Let me know how that works out. I do not have one. I've never used one, but from what I've seen of them, they look pretty comfy. So now you get to sleep in the back of your Model YL, plug in all your cell phones with a 115 volt AC adapter, and you get to put up lighting on the outside of the vehicle. It's actually really cool. If you don't have this thing, it's actually really, really cool. And so what is it? I mean, I'm talking about it. So yeah, it's 2.4 kilowatt. Let's look at this for a moment. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. So this is the actual adapter. Okay. The adapter actually plugs in. It's weird because they're actually showing us they actually show a Cybertruck in this picture for some weird reason. I don't know why. But it's a Model Y, trust me. The way that it works, it has this plug that's on the end of it, and that plugs into your mobile charger. So your mobile charger has several plugs that you can plug into it. So you can plug it into a 120 volt AC outlet or a 240 volt AC outlet, things of that nature. Well, you basically unplug that and you plug this adapter in, and voila, just like that, you have electricity. You have a couple of electrical ports, as you can see there on the side. Now you have two electrical ports. You can plug whatever you want into there. I give it maybe a couple months before the vendors have a version of this coming out. Now, this adapter is what costs $80, okay? You should already have the mobile charger. If you do not have the mobile charger, you have to buy one or rent one or get your Uncle Phil to get you one. But you need a mobile charger. Without the mobile charger, adapter will not help you. Okay, the adapter goes into it. So they're charging $80 for this. As I said, give it a little bit of time. It'll start popping up on Amazon for probably half the price. Whether or not I trust it is, well, I don't think I'm going to be testing that one. I'm pretty confident I won't. Because I do not have a vehicle that is capable of vehicle to load. That's why I won't be testing it. So I'm talking a lot about Model YL here. But here's the deal. There are some Model Y premiums, not the standard version, premium models, which received the PCS2, which means you can get the adapter and it will work. Okay. This is what you do. In the app, you can go to your Tesla app and go to the shop and then shop for the outlet adapter. If your VIN number is capable of it, because all of your parts are tied to your VIN number. So they know what parts you have just by putting in your VIN number. If your vehicle is capable of it, it will let you buy the adapter. If it's not, it's going to say it's not suitable for your vehicle. That's one way, okay? The other way, which is one of the ways I've had to figure it out, is that I have gone into the Tesla parts catalog, plugging my VIN number over there, and then search up the PCS assembly PCS, and it showed me the part number. And there's a part number that is specifically for that PCS2 board. And I just don't have it up here right now. But if you have that part number, then you have it. If you don't have that part number, then you don't have it. I can tell you right now, I have the Launch Series Model Y. It absolutely does not have it. None of the Launch Series has it, okay? And for those of you thinking about, oh, well, it's just a part. I can change out the part, and then I can get vehicle to load. No, don't do that. The part by itself is $1,700. It's not worth it. There are other ways to do this that are a lot more reliable. And a lot cheaper. The part by itself is $1,700. And then when you throw on top of where it's located in the vehicle, you're probably going to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on this, getting that part swapped out. Not worth it, really. So don't do that. Just check to see if your vehicle is capable. So if you've bought, I'm pretty confident every Model Y since June, this past June 2026, has it in the vehicle. Possibly May, possibly. But I'm pretty confident every Model Y since June has it in the vehicle. All right. So if you have that vehicle, go check it out. You never know. $80, it's worth it. $4,000, not worth it. It's kind of that simple, folks. Realizing I didn't put this up here. Hang on. There we go. So that's the adapter. I want to show you this as well. Hang on. This is the actual manual for the adapter. You can see here, these are the different adapters that you can have, and this is the adapter for the vehicle to load, and it plugs directly into the mobile charger, which is right here. Plugs in there. That's how it works. It's actually really not that difficult. Not that difficult. They used a picture of the Cybertruck here, and they actually have it plugged into the air pump. I don't know why they did that with a Cybertruck, because the Cybertruck already has outlets in it, unless you have a Cybertruck, just the regular dual motor one, I guess. It doesn't have the outlets in the back. I guess that's why you would do that. It's enough to run the air pump, and you just need to put air in your tire, things of that nature. That's really what it is. It's pretty cool. I like it. So go in there, enter your digits in there, and it will work. Whew. But yeah, watch that 2.4 kilowatt, a 2.4 kilowatt limit. All right. Please. There we go. All right. Whew. So that is what, those are the main points I really wanted to hit on tonight, were was the V2L and the Cybercab stuff. Now, having said that, so I'm going to open up the floor for now for any questions that you guys have before I hit on some of the stuff that you may have missed throughout the week. So go ahead and type if you guys have any questions. Let me know. I'll try to answer them as I go through here. Oh yeah, yeah. I knew there was something. Oh boy. For those that do not know, I'm soft launching the redfire.com. It is the official website for the Red Review. I've been posting the articles up there. I've been soft launching that one only because I'm just giving it a trial run right now. I will be doing a site overhaul here in the very near future, and I'm going to have some announcements, cross fingers, that hopefully make you guys really happy here in the not too distant future. I'm going to clean up some of the messes around here, and hopefully allay some of you guys' concern. But it's very, very interesting about what's been going on. And I am actually going to show you right now. This is the new Red Review site. And I did want to cover some of the stuff that I had put up here this week, because I thought it was actually pretty interesting. Number one article. Tesla killed off the solar roof, folks. That one flew underneath the radar. And for those of you who don't know, Tesla has solar panels. Don't know if you knew that or not. I have a set of those in the power walls in my home. Yes, they do work with the Cybertruck. Yes, they are worth it. There are caveats with it, though. I may wind up doing a different type show just for solar panels, if you guys have an interest in that, because there's a lot that goes on with that. There's a lot. But in any case, what Tesla had was the solar roof, where you have this, you didn't have shingles that you put on your roof. You'd actually have metal plates that go on top of your roof, and that becomes a roof. But there were solar panels too, highly efficient, worked really, really well. The only problem was Tesla manufacturing could not get the cost under control. And so they were just losing money on the product, and they finally just killed it off this past week. It's like, nope, wash their hands of it, done. No more solar roof. I personally wanted one next time I did my next house and put a new roof on. I wanted a Tesla solar roof. I think they looked great. They work great. It's just expensive. The new solar panels that Tesla came out with a few months ago, they work really, really well. They're a little bit more efficient than even the ones that I got, because I got mine a year ago. They work so well that I'm able to charge my car, especially during the fall and winter months. I could charge at least one of my cars a day off the solar panels. I have the Powerwall batteries, which adds backup to the home, which powers the home all day and all night. And with the amount of sun that we have going, you know, it works. So the solar panels do work. They work really, really well. The next thing, we talk about the mods and all of that. This is something that kind of hit me close, only because I've reviewed this. Not that many people paid attention, truth be told, because of the algorithm. But I utilize this in my vehicle. And what it is, and I should actually pull this up just to show you what I'm talking about. So you know I'm not, taking you guys for a ride or anything. Okay. Here, let me show you this. This is brand new this week for your Model Y. What it is an underseat tray. Goes directly under the passenger seat. Only the passenger seat. Okay? It's $40. Yeah, it's $40 for that one tray. I bring this up because how can I? There's no nice way of putting this. That's a ripoff. It's a ripoff. Okay. There's just no nice way of putting that. $40 is ridiculous for one tray that goes underneath the seat. I actually put these things in my Model Y almost a full year ago, if it hasn't been an entire year ago. It's a 10-piece set. 10 pieces. And let's see if I can pull that up. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Just so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Boom. This thing is $44.99. 10 pieces. Not only does it, I know it's not in the picture there. It's not in this picture. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it may not be in this picture. Oh, yeah, there it is. You get 2 of these underseat storage boxes. I've been using these things for the last year. I don't have a problem with them. So for the same price you're going to pay Tesla for one box that goes underneath your seat, you get not only 2, but you get 8 other pieces, which include, the darn the cup holders. You get the center console stuff, which they charge another $30-$40 for. You get the pad, which goes up on your charging pads. You get stuff, okay? The only one out of this whole bunch I really don't use is this little camera cover right here. Why do they include that? I have no idea. That's a waste. That is not needed. But the rest of the stuff, the other 9, it's useful. And it's the same price. So why in the world would I do this? But that's where we're at. And so I tried to get the word out there. I tried to let everybody know. Say, hey guys, you might want to pay attention, because keep in mind, it also works. They have a set. Let me not open my mouth too much. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, I'm correct. Hold up. Here's the Model 3 Highland version. Okay. Previous Model 3 version. They even got it for the Juniper Standard. Okay. That's a 6-pack. I'm going to tell you right now, the quality on this one is just as good as what Tesla will give you. It is. I've been using it for the last year. If you look on the channel, once again, or even on the site, you'll see the video where I actually did review the entire set. And I stand behind that review. This is how you save money, folks. And this is, you know what? This is why I do this, is to help save you guys all kinds of money. Which link? Yeah, it's in my, it's in the, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. You know what? I will put this link. No, wait, hold on. Let me see if I can put it right down here so you guys can do it. There you go. I put it, I put the link in the comment section. I'll see if I can get it in the description section later, but in case you don't, just go to my Amazon store. I know that's in the description. And I believe I have a link to it there. If you don't see it in the comment section, just hit that and you can get it. But yeah, it's stuff like that. When I see, it's like, come on, guys. I mean, this is why I tell guys, when you buy your car brand new from Tesla, there are not very many accessories I would buy from Tesla. There just isn't. Depending on the vehicle, there might be like one, like the charger or something of that nature. But any of the center console trays, any of that stuff, no. You leave all that stuff alone. You're going to get overcharged for it. And this is the same stuff, truth be told. All right. Back to where I was. Whew. All right. We got the V2L. And it was, last thing was, I was going to talk about, some folks are still interested in this. The Roadster. This has been going on since 2016. I know there are folks that are going, well, when are we going to see it? Is it going to show up anytime soon? The answer is yes. The real question in my head is, what will show up soon? Okay. And the reason why I have that question, okay, is because we've always heard, if you've been keeping up with this at all, you've always heard that the Roadster was going to have cold jet thrusters, and that's going to be off of SpaceX side, off of their rockets. Okay. And I think this has something to do with the reason it has been delayed for so long, especially because if you remember earlier on that this vehicle was supposed to debut this past April, and it didn't. Okay. I think Tesla hit a brick wall that they could not overcome. And this is their way of finally getting the vehicle out there, and they just threw in the towel. That's what I honestly believe. I have no proof of that, but just what's, how do they say? Watch their feet. That's what it looks like. And what I mean by that is that this car is actually supposed to hover. I have every belief that they are going to debut this thing at the end of this month or the beginning of September, and you will see a hovering car. Now, according to the reports, that no one will be in the car because the jets are so loud that, it can cause hearing damage, things of that nature. So nobody's going to be in the car. Okay, great. How are you going to sell a car with, co-jet thrusters on it when you can't even be in the car when it's operating? I think that's one of the issues they were working on all this time. And that's why it's been delayed. It's a great concept, but at the end of the day, it's become too much of a challenge. Now, here's the part where I have a problem. Up until recently, as far as I know, they kept advertising 0 to 60 times in the, I think it was 0.9 seconds, something in that neighborhood. But a lot of that was predicated on having the co-jet thrusters on board. That's what they were talking about. Okay. Well, it's becoming quite obvious that that's not happening. No co-jet thrusters. This is going to be nothing more than a tech demo. It's going to be a glorified tech demo of a car that will never get sold. So there's going to be Tesla's version of, an experimental car, and they're just going to put it out there. And then now they're going to finally sell the Roadster. So now you've got to change the specs on the Roadster because it's not going to have those co-jet thrusters. Now, is it going to be able to accelerate as quickly? Will the weight be changed? How is it going to affect? It's all these questions. What's going to fill those cavities where the jet thrusters were? Is it going to be empty? Lots of questions about it, okay? And all of these questions start breeding other questions as to what how that car is going to perform. Okay, it just starts asking. It just starts making even more questions, and that's the issue I have with this. Will the Roadster perform the way that they advertise? What are the new specs going to be? So those people that put down $50,000 or went full $250,000 on it, are they getting what they paid for? These are all questions that need to be answered, and they are legit questions. You were going to get a flying car, not anymore. So now what? What do you guys think? Is it just more than a tech demo? You think you'll ever see co-jet thrusters on the vehicle? I mean, really? But that's where we're at with it. I honestly do not see how this is going to happen. Okay. But the Roadster will show up, but it's just going to be, at this point, a hypercar. It's going to be, does it justify the $250,000 now that it does not have the co-jet thrusters? No. If you're going to put the thrusters on there, was that an add-on? Now, I go off on my tangents on occasion. This is another tangent, since we're talking about parts for cars, and this one kind of hits me kind of close. Because I have a Model S Plaid. I have a 2026 Model S Plaid, which you have not seen on the channel yet. Only because I haven't figured out how to debut it on the channel yet. I'm taking suggestions on how to make that happen. I've not really modded it very much. That's one of the reasons you have not seen it. But my issue is the fact that a Plaid is supposed to be able to go 200 miles per hour. The Plaid is supposed to have the track package available for it, just like the Model 3 Performance. It's not available. You can't buy it. They discontinued it. And even before they had announced the Model S Plaid Signature, which is where all the rest of the parts went, because all of those cars got track packages on them. Even those vehicles got it, but even then, it always said out of stock. Since like the beginning of the year, it's always been out of stock. Well, now they've just completely removed it from the website. So buying the track package for the Model S Plaid is not even an option right now. They'll give you the wheels. The wheels are not good enough, though. What you really need are the brakes. And that will unlock the software to to allow you to go 200 miles per hour, because without it, the vehicle is limited to 165 miles an hour. Now, you're probably looking at me going, well, dang, you're never going to go 200 miles an hour. Maybe. I don't know that. But at least I'd like to have the option. Am I alone in this one? Come on now. I like to have the option to go 200 miles an hour if I paid for it. Give me my extra track package. Tesla, hook me up, please. Good grief, man. So that begs the question, will the aftermarket guys do something? Will there be an option down the line to buy a proper brake system and wheels and have Tesla just say, you know what, we'll flip the switch for you. We'll come out with a software patch. You're good to go. You do what you want. Go kill yourself if you want. I've been good with that. Although there will be that guy, don't be that guy, but there will be that guy that tries to go 200 miles an hour and they don't have the proper wheels and brakes on the car and they go through the end of the track. That's on them. They're not selling any more Model S's. It shouldn't be a problem at this point. Elon, please unlock the car. I may get on a campaign. I may get on the campaign trail for this one and say, hey, we need to start unlocking this vehicle. If I start that petition, let me know if y'all gonna jump on that bandwagon, because I love that Plaid. It's a great vehicle. But I bring that up only because of the Roadster. How much support will the Roadster get? Keep in mind, there's only going to be one set. It's not like it's going to be iterating. According to Tesla and Elon, this is the last one they're making with, steering wheel and pedals. It's supposed to be the last hoorah. So it's not like they're going to make a whole lot of parts for it. Something to think about, folks. It really is. So it sounds good, but I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to shake out. I really don't. Kind of like with the Model S and X at this point. So we'll see what happens. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting. Hey, by the way, before I forget, I will be at X Takeover in October. So come find me out there. Come say hi. Going to be out there. We're going to be taking care of business out there. You're going to meet a lot of people, see a lot of stuff. I can't wait to go participate in the light show out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't already got your ticket, there is a waiting list. Last time I looked, there were about 300 people on that waiting list to go to X Takeover in Austin. It's going to be a fantastic event. I'm really looking forward to this. We'll see what happens. Well, I really appreciate you guys' time. Stick with us, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.